We're back from the weekend with the Hard Hustle podcast and Dr. Carrie. Dr. Carrie, where are we watching or where are we virtually visiting from?
I am joining you from beautiful Southern Oregon in Ashland, part of the Pacific Northwest.
I'm gonna ask you the same question my wife asked me when I told her we're going to Boston. What's in Oregon?
I mean, what's not in Oregon? We've got waterfalls, we've got trails, we've got rivers, we've got Sasquatch,
Love
or
it.
Bigfoot. So we have a little bit
Is
of
that a real thing?
everything out here. Well, I mean, that's what they say. I haven't personally seen
You're
Bigfoot,
not going on
but
those trails trying to find them.
well, there are trail cameras out there, right? And so as you drive around, there are lots of actual Sasquatch figures. And so sometimes on road trips, you're like, ooh, how many are we going to see?
That's
So it's a
funny.
thing. It's a big deal.
Love it. Born and raised?
Well, from Northern California originally, Sonoma County, but I also went to school in Northern California in Humboldt County, where Bigfoot also lives there apparently as well, with the big redwood trees. So,
Starting to
you
think you're
know,
looking for them. I'm starting to think that you possibly.
well, I am tall and I have large feet, so maybe I was like, who knows? Who knows the
I,
possibilities?
I love it. I love it. We just had our 4th of July weekend for those that are watching. How was 4th of July for you? 250th birthday for America. To me, I'm not going to lie
Yes.
to you. I was actually asking my neighbor this that was a former Marine. I'm like, does it feel different being 250th or is it just another holiday? Because to me, it felt like just another holiday. What did you feel?
Yeah. It felt like just another holiday a little bit, although with the I think there for our town parade, we normally only have 40 floats. This year we had 52 floats. So, I mean, I think
Exciting.
people were excited and definitely felt that 250 energy. Um but it still felt the same kind of joyousness, celebratory sense as 249. So
Yeah, no, for sure. I would say the fireworks lasted much longer. It started about 8:30 and I swear it didn't stop till 1 o'clock, like non-stop.
uh
You were hearing these things. So I would say people very patriotic out there. I seen some cool ones.
uh-huh
I was looking at some of the fireworks that people were doing out there. I was like, okay, I can see. Maybe I didn't feel it, but others were out there
yeah,
really
they
celebrating.
did.
But you know what? You give anybody a reason to celebrate hard, go hard, and they're going to do so anyway. So
Yes,
you know what? It could have been 249 that
exactly.
they'll celebrate just as hard.
I know, they
Uh,
would have been like, yes.
Dr. Carey, where are you representing today? What is the school you represent today? What is your title?
So, yeah, so I am at Southern Oregon University and I am the Assistant Vice President of Student Affairs and Dean of Students.
Yeah, how we get there?
Uh,
How we get that to that position?
Well, a long and winding road, right? I feel like most individuals who end up in student affairs, the majority probably didn't set off, at 10 years old saying, I want to be a student affairs
Yeah, they
professional.
didn't even know it existed
Uh,
probably.
exactly. They're like, they go through, their college experience and then they kind of start thinking, oh, wow, I could help students and work on policy and have fun and do all these things and be around the academic environment. And that's kind of a little bit of my story. I had always done things, but I was always planning on being a faculty member, right? And I started applying for jobs and I wasn't getting hired. And so I mean, I would get some interviews, and I was like, "What's happening here?" But it was actually my mom who said, "Well, why aren't you trying some of these like director roles of student success or advising? Why aren't you doing something like that?" And I thought, "Oh, maybe I should apply for those." And as soon as I started doing that, I was getting interviews and got multiple offers. And it was this idea of like, oh, yeah, this is a perfect mixture. I still get to be in that academic environment. I can still teach, but I can do what I felt to be a greater impact on
Yeah.
student experience through that.
So a couple of things I noticed is that you
Yeah.
got all the energy from the kids. Like I told you as we got on, it's like you got energy, but it's because you're surrounded by all the energy, right?
Yeah.
That's one. Two is that you never really left school and you must love school because not only did you finish school and then go work at the
Hmm.
school, you went to go get a doctor's degree.
I did.
What
Yeah.
was the reason behind that? The doctor. There had to be a good reason unless you just love
Well,
school that much.
Well, I mean, okay, so I originally wanted to be Jane Goodall. And so when I was in 3rd grade, I decided I wanted to work with tigers, right? And then kind of went to Marine World in San Jose, California, and then like saw the primates and just thought, "Oh, actually, I think primates are where it's at." And so my whole world kind of surrounded around studying whether it was chimpanzees just in captivity or various capuchins and monkeys in the wild to then going, oh, this is what I'm gonna do. And lived abroad, traveled, studied, lived in jungles, and did all of that work. Um, and then when I was coming back, that's the big piece of I wanted a family, but often when you're studying wildlife in other countries, you're gone for long
Yeah.
stretches of time. And how am I going to balance all of this? Uh, I mean, I remember distinctly thinking when I thought, oh, if I'm going to stay in the US, am I a bad person? Right? Because can I not hack it being in the wild? And so kind of this reckoning of, studying animals and being and kind of a rolling stone had been part of my identity. And then going, who am I if I'm not, Carrie, who's always off following monkeys somewhere? So kind of had that reckoning. Um, and then realized I'm not a bad person, and that you can change some of your priorities and you can still have your passions and find outlets for that and
Yep.
have new things that you can enjoy.
So is that the passion? Is that what keeps you, I would say, sane when things are going crazy, just kind of going into the wild and just immersing yourself into it?
It is. So one of my like side hustles is I'm also a board chair for our it's an environmental education group called
Oh
The
yeah.
Crest, and they have goats. And one of the first things when we moved out here to Southern Oregon, my daughter, who was 5 at the time, she was struggling a little bit with leaving where we were in Montana, kind of coming here. She was a little bit sad, and so she had gone to my husband, and he said, Viv, what would make you happy? And she said, goats. We have no idea why. And he Googled goats near me. And this Willowit Ranch, which was, 12 miles from us, where you can just go and play with baby goats and it's free and you can go. So they went and they played with these baby goats and then came back home and they were like, Carrie, you got to go out and play with these goats. And so we went and we actually did. They let you just take 13 goats on a
Wow.
3-mile walk by ourselves and the goats, like, the goats know the route,
You're living your
and
dream, huh, doctor?
it was like, "Ah!" I'm in the woods and, like, birds are flocking to me. It was just so much fun and just, calming, I would say, right? It's that idea of getting out where there's no cell phones, there's no people really,
Mhm.
and just communing. And that's what I think keeps me grounded when I
Oh,
need
yeah.
to like decompress. I'm like, can I just be near an animal somewhere? Sit in the backyard quietly. We've got our own little mini farm at our house. It's not really a farm, but
You got chickens?
no chickens. Although, boy, would I want some chickens. We do have wild turkeys that come to visit. Actually, the other night, a black bear was
Oh
just
my
on the
god.
other side of our fence hanging out. So our friends from LA, I was like, "Oh, look at there's a bear in the backyard." Um, but
My
2
wife
dogs, a
be
bunny, and a cat.
okay, oh yeah, you got some
Yeah.
animals there. My wife is always talking
Mhm.
about a chicken. And I said,
Oh,
"Who's gonna take
yeah.
care of this chicken? Can you imagine me just running around and chasing this chicken? I can't do that." And she's like, "We
Gotta
gotta
build a
get it.
coop. Gotta build a
She's
coop.
like, it's her. She's like fresh eggs. But then as she was reading more on how to, take care of these chickens. And she's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, they actually are work. I said, yeah, and you're gonna do it because it's not me. I'm not taking care of the chickens. Now there are
Mhm.
monkeys. One animal I would love is one of those little
Uh-huh.
monkeys. And people think I'm crazy,
Yes.
but I'm like, it's because you don't like monkeys. And I think we talked about it while you were telling me about monkeys. I went
Yeah.
to go back to look for it. I'm like, you know what? I gotta send it to her when I find it. I gotta send
That's
it to her.
right. You gotta
Because it
find that
was
photo.
when I went to South Africa, that's all I cared for. When I heard there was monkeys, I'm like, I don't care about the lion, the safari. I just want to go see the monkey. And to just be
Mhm.
there and just, I told you, just them running all over you and sitting there and
Yeah.
pulling on my drawstring had the drawstrings to the hoodie and he's just chewing on
Mhm.
it. Like, I
Oh,
just thought the coolest thing when I had to leave, it was sad. I would never forget that day. But just
yeah.
like you, nature is so amazing. I love that you find that the peace in it. I was walking with my
It
daughter
is.
yesterday, and it was
Mhm.
raining. So I said, "Hey, you want to go for?" It wasn't raining too bad, but I
Yeah.
said, "Let's go for a walk in the rain." And we're sitting under these trees, and all you can do is just kind of hear the tree, the water hit the
Mhm.
trees. I said, "Shh." She said, "What are we being quiet for?" I said, "You hear that? If we were in a jungle, it sounds even much better." Like, I'm trying to
Exactly. You're
create
like,
this
"Oh,
imagination for her because it does. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been
yeah."
in the woods or the jungle while it's raining. It's like I can go to sleep in it.
I know, that is that like, the rain on the leaves in a forest and kind of, like, trickling down, and then you have the mist. Oh,
Mhm.
I love that. I love
Okay,
that.
so we talked about one of your passions, which is the
Mhm.
outdoors. Now we're gonna talk about the second passion, which is students. Is really
Yeah.
fertilizing into the future. How long have you been doing this, doctor?
Well, so it depends on what you wanna count as doing it. So, I like to think that I started babysitting when I was 10, right? So, I've always
Love kids.
enjoyed
Yeah.
you love kids, right? And so with that and then when I went to college, I was a university ambassador for my school and a campus tour guide, right? And an orientation leader, and so that to me was all this experience of helping students make the right college selection, right? By being a tour guide and the pros and the cons and
Yeah.
the good, all of those things. And then orientation was all about course selection and choose your path and this kind of choose your own adventure style. And I have to like choose your own
Yeah.
adventure is like something like those old books that were around where choose your different pathway and the story could go. That to me is a huge way of thinking about life that there are different paths one can take. And so doing all that. So I want to say over 20 years I've been doing that. As I said to a student the other day, I
Wow.
made some joke about doing it for 20 years. And I said, I know what you're saying, Dr. V, you can't be older than 23. How is this possible? But but it's been a while. And every step just really figuring out how to help others. I'm a helper at heart.
Yeah. Yeah. I, um, I love it. I think about when you mentioned that you were giving college tours and you were doing
Hmm.
orientation, and I'm like, I can tell why you've chosen to do that, actually. You are the energy that someone sees at first, and it's
Yeah.
contagious. So you being that
Thank you.
person to go do that, it's like, yeah, she got him, right? She's gonna reel him in. Can imagine you're still doing that, but it's because of just life. Is can imagine is the education, is people pouring into you, but it's also probably all the books that you read behind you. What is your favorite book? I just
Oh
took
gosh.
the back. I'm like, wait a minute, there's a lot of books out there. So you're a big reader, I'm guessing?
I do enjoy reading. And actually my favorite all-time book is actually a children's book, and it's called The Phantom Tollbooth.
Never heard
And
it.
I don't know if oh my gosh. So you have to
Phantom
read it.
Tollbooth.
There's also a film from like 1982 that is not as good as
Are
the
you are
book.
are you sharing your age with us here? Is that what you're doing?
I know. Of course not. I mean, I've heard. They had it on Netflix. But Phantom Tollbooth is really about a character, Milo, who gets transported to this other world with Dictionopolis, and he's trying to save the princess's rhyme and reason, but there are so many puns and just funny, funny things that he encounters on this journey where he had been in his life very bored and like, oh, nothing is exciting and his surroundings not paying attention, I
Yeah.
would say. And so as he goes through this phantom toll booth that arrives at his apartment one day and transports him, he is then like, oh, you need to actually pay attention to the world around you and
Is it a Disney
experience
movie?
things. It's not a Disney
Oh,
movie.
because it reminds
I
me
don't
of, you ever
know.
seen the movie Elio?
No, I haven't.
So
Ooh.
it's kind of like he feels that his sister's taking care of him, but he doesn't feel like
Mhm.
she's spending time with him. So he's trying to tap into the
Ooh.
outside of the universe. Ends up
Mhm.
finding. Then they switch him. Now there's a body here on the on
Okay.
Earth that is him,
Okay.
but it's not him. And then he's actually. So when you said that, it's like
Oh,
almost similar. But you know how they rewrite movies, and they'll
they do. Yeah,
Disney
maybe it was
takes. Not talk
inspired.
about Disney, but they'll take
Yeah,
ideas, and you know what I mean.
exactly. But
I
no,
love it.
that is one of my all-time favorite books. I've read it to my daughter. I'm hoping one day she will reread it. I know I read it when I was a kid, and then I reread it in high school, and I continue to reread it and just find it hilarious.
I'm a riff off some book names. Let me know if you read
Okay,
any of these. You could
okay,
probably because these are like truly
big
legend
ones.
books here. Corduroy,
Yes, corduroy, like with the
the
bear.
bear. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
of course.
Amelia Bedelia.
Yeah, of course.
Uh-huh.
How could I
Uh-huh.
not? Uh,
And let me see another one. And Clifford. Those were my guys. Clifford the big
oh,
red dog.
Clifford. Yes, the big
Yeah,
red
yeah.
dog. Yes.
Amelia
No, those ones
Bedelia,
are
I
all great.
mean, who would have thought when we think about it now, reading those books at that age, it's like, should we been reading those books? Like, she was doing all the type of wrong things, and we were just following along with Amelia Bedelia.
Ridiculousness. Yeah, Amelia Bedelia. I think there was one where she was baking a cake or something, and it was, like, in a bed, or it was just
Yeah,
ridiculous. You're like,
that
"What
is
are you
so
doing,
funny.
Amelia Bedelia?"
That
Uh,
is so funny. So when we talk about the we just kinda went back, right, to
yeah.
corduroy, went back real far back, and when you started school, it's probably very different now. The way that kids have to go through the process of signing up or
Mhm.
the questions or now the parents being more involved than ever. What is shifting now that, is different than when you started or 10 years maybe when you were just doing this at a different level?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like a big difference is the internet, right? And
Mhm,
social media. But also the cost is very different now. I would say the pressure and intensity, and also an
mhm,
expectation that exists more now, where it is kind of ingrained. I think it for a lot of people, like you finish high school, and there is like either you go to work or
mhm,
you go to college. Like
yep,
those are the two options. I feel like most students these days are like, okay, what do I do? Um, and and so with that comes, incredible like stress of now which school do I choose? What am I supposed to major in if I'm going to go to school? What does that look like? Uh do I live on campus? Do I go close? Do I go far away? So all of those kind of, and then there's also this like idea of school and college and what you're supposed to do and how it's supposed to be, that I don't think necessarily existed back in
mhm,
the like 80s and 90s. It was, you had Animal House, right? There were a couple of big films about kind of the party
yeah.
lifestyle. Um, but it wasn't all the pressure that I feel like students these days have a lot more pressure on them than previously.
Do you think it's easier to consume that information for someone that is wanting to go to a school to be able to go to a website, have a conversation, text in, or whatever that may look like?
I do because now everybody has chat bots, right? And so you can just kind of, and they're also pinging, insider scoop. If you look at a school's webpage, you're tagged, and then you're going to start getting those targeted ads on
Yeah.
your social media, right? And so all of those pieces that technology has helped can, again, pros and cons, right? Like it's one thing if you are kind of interested in an area and then they're reaching out to you and they're giving you information. We find that students nowadays, they're having conversations with AI, right? Which is what's so great about Southern Oregon? What's great about
Yep.
Oregon? Or would I, and if they're AI, if you're using it a lot, they know your search pattern. So think of like Amazon, Netflix, what movies you like. They're able to
Yeah.
now say, would I be a good fit for SOU? Or is there another school that might be a better fit? Or which schools are a good fit for
Yeah.
me?
Yeah, curation around your
Hmm.
life in a sense. You mentioned just everything is
Exactly.
curated to you. Are you guys
Mhm.
tapped into that technology when you talk about innovation, curating those type of environments for the schools?
We are doing our best, right? And so I think we are trying to every year, we're getting a little bit more finesse and fine tuned in that we really market SOU cares, right? And that is something that I think is what attracted me to
Mhm.
SOU is this idea that they really, I say the institution really does care about the students and trying to figure out how to support them, help them navigate the system. And for students that need a little helping hand, I think our campus is a really good fit for that because that's how we're kind of structured, which is
Got it.
different. Like a lot of small schools say, oh, we care about students. But I actually think SOU in a lot of ways lives that as we are trying to create the infrastructure to support students to get them to cross that graduation stage.
You know, one thing I heard Dr. Carey recently was just a kind of the retention cliff from people just falling off. What are you
Uh,
guys doing, that maybe other schools should be kind of focused on to keep that retention going?
yeah, I think there's 2 things. So, one, I think it is important to help students realize that they can do this and they
Mhm.
belong here, right? At the same time, this is where I'm a bad retention specialist, is I also think it is okay to step away, right? And to not have shame or see that as a failure. It could be taking a pause and a recalibration because sometimes we will see students and there is a lot of life happening, right?
Mhm.
And when there is a lot of life happening, the pressure of trying to pass a biology exam, like that's not, yes, it's important. But over here, this life issue that you're dealing
Yep.
with, whether it's a sick family, that needs to be a priority,
Yeah.
and helping students see that it is okay to pause, to help, like, focus on the priority that you need to focus on, and then you can come back. We're gonna be here, right? And
Yeah.
it is okay to take a 1-year break or a
Yeah.
2-year break or a 1 semester break or a term break, right? Like, a break is okay, because if you were to stay and you're trying to do it all, but you're failing your classes, that is then like the failure, right? But it's
Yep.
not because you couldn't pass your classes. It's just there was too much going on. And so how to
Yeah.
choose what to focus on. So I think if you can make a what I say like a kind off ramp so that they'll want to come back.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Life do be lifing, and I was that student that, um I was in South Africa taking classes,
Mhm.
but I was also facilitating out there. So,
Yeah.
my mind was on monkeys and exploring,
Mhm.
and when it was and then you had to get this paper done by a certain time. You don't know how many nights I had, like, "Do I go out with everybody, or do I stay here and do" what do you think I was
Mhm.
doing, huh, doctor? I was probably going out with everybody, still trying to finish that
Yes,
that work. And,
exactly.
that's kinda why I was like, "You know what? I have to put a pause to it because there's so
Mhm.
much going on," and not in a bad way. Sometimes it's just even in a good way,
Yeah.
and it is okay to pause. I think so many times people are afraid to go back. I've heard someone that is so I heard a first gen student that went and got their degree, and mom never got a degree. So when mom seen daughter get it, she went back,
Uh-huh.
and now mom has gotten her master's degrees at
Oh,
50. Not because
that's
she needed it,
awesome.
but
Yeah.
because she had time to do it. So it goes to show that
Mhm.
no matter what your age is, you always can go back, and there's always those people that are willing to just kind of navigate you to where you need to be and hold your hand. I think a lot of people don't realize that in the college level. Like there's so many people that are there that care and that want to see you win. It's not just about taking your money, but it's about preparing you for life. That transition from high
Exactly.
school to real life or high school to college sometimes could be intense. Sometimes
Mhm.
you're not prepared for what that may look like. But what do you tell to that individual that is probably wanting to go to college but never
Mhm.
experienced this? School wasn't for them per se, is what they say. What do you say to that individual?
I think the biggest thing is you are not a burden if you need help. So
Mm,
many people feel that if they're asking for help or if they need help, that again, it's that idea of I can't do this or everyone else knows how to do it and I'm the only one. So that imposter syndrome, don't believe that, don't feed into that. And again, I say I'm a helper, right? Most student affairs professionals or most people in higher ed in general, they're helpers. And so you asking for help makes us feel good, right? That
yep,
helps us do our job. So reminding them you don't have to do it on your own. There is an entire community that
yep,
wants to support you and remember that, right? And that and even if you try to do it on your own and you stumble a little bit, no one's going to judge you if you then come in and say, okay, now I need help. Great, let's do this. And so I think that is the biggest thing. I have some learning differences.
yep,
And when I was in college, I didn't want to use my accommodations, right? Because I just thought, well, I don't, I'll just try and do it. I went looking back. Oh, I wish I'd used those accommodations. Like they would have helped me so much and caused
yeah,
probably way less stress and anxiety in my life. And so now here, reminding students sign up. You don't have to utilize it, right? Or have it the first time. So use these
Hmm.
resources because they are there to help you. Not do the work for you. They don't do any of that, right? But it's helping them. So reminding students, raise your hand. Let us know if you need help, because there is a team that is ready to support you. You don't have to do it alone.
Love it. And you talked about just the resources and the help. Let's also talk to those leaders that are kind of in a space where they maybe forgot their why. And with life in right now, right? In so many different ways, you don't got to get into it. People are afraid. People are asking themselves, is this what I should be doing? Why am I doing this? What do you tell those individuals?
So I think higher ed in general is about exposure to different ideas and really helping develop critical thinking skills and what I say is information literacy. So as you're judging the information that's
Hmm.
coming through, right?
Yeah.
And to me, when you have a group of individuals that has critical thinking and information literacy, you get a better society, right? And it doesn't mean you have to agree on everything, but that you can understand those different perspectives. And so to me, the why for college is yes, it can change somebody's life because what was once, a preferred bachelor's degree as a preferred qualification is often now the minimum, right?
Yeah.
And so you're helping change lives. And to me, creating this society of thinkers.
Love it. And where can people find more information from about if they wanted to talk to you, if they wanted to find out
Yeah.
about the school, social media, website? What does that look like?
Okay. Well, for Southern Oregon University, sou.edu for us. And interesting enough, and for me, it's Dean of Students, so DOS at sou.edu. And again, I love helping and talking with prospective students just about the college journey in general and having someone that they can speak to that's in higher ed. Sometimes they're getting it from their high school guidance counselors, but someone who's in the system to say, "Hey, let me show you the tips and tricks, so that you can figure out your journey."
You got another 20 years in you, Dr. Carey?
I think I do. I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm not
The dancing
ready
dean. We
to.
didn't even talk about the dancing dean.
We didn't even talk well, and my new playlist, I just every
Come
year, I
on. Where can
do
they
a
find this
welcome
stuff at?
playlist. Well, I've got it on YouTube, Dr. V's Welcome Playlist 2026, Dance With Me. And then I also have a Spotify. So each year I curate a
Yeah.
theme playlist. And so I just finished on July 1st, my new
I'm
cohort
checking it
mix.
out.
So I'm
Uh,
very excited
I'm
about
checking
it.
it out. And how about the dancing videos? Can we find those too?
Yes, you can find those either at Dean of Students, SOU Dean of Students on Instagram, our SOU Ashland Instagram for our university page. You might see some
Love it.
clips of me dancing in the 4th of July parade.
Hell yeah. Doctor, thank you so much for your time. For those that are still watching, these are the
Thank
conversations that we enjoy. Are people, leaders that are authentically them, are showing up not for themselves, but to continue to fertilize the future, giving insights about what it looks like to turn on and turn off, right? You
Mhm.
mentioned just kind of go out outdoors or spending time with your
Yeah.
animals in the back. There's more to come, I can only imagine. But if you guys are
Yeah.
still watching, understand that you're not alone in this space, that there are so many people that are willing to help you. And if you're a leader in this space, that there's also leaders that are willing to talk to you and allow you to know that you're not in this alone. I'm Efrain. This is Dr. Carey. Make sure you guys go and check out more information so we can continue this story. Latest.
Thank you so much.